So this is our final unit, Unit 6, and to finish out the course we were asked to do a video and cover 3 different questions regarding the entire course. So the first question is, tell us which type of creativity or creative art that we would most likely use in our own work. So I was taking some time to really think about how I would utilize creativity in career counseling in the higher education setting, and I think the biggest thing is what you feel comfortable with. And the 2 areas that I really feel comfortable with is music and literature. And I'll kind of discuss a little bit more of that in the second question, but the reason that I feel comfortable with it is because I really feel like it builds the rapport. So in the sense of music and literature, when you're working with a client, one of our core values is getting to know the client, understanding the client, and appreciating where that client's coming from, and interests, personal interests, and things that can kind of aid in that transition, whatever that transition is, whatever that stressor is they're dealing with. And I like the idea of music and literature being forms of representation for the client, not only to express, maybe things that make them feel positive, but also encourage emotional awareness. So, metaphors and music and metaphors and literature, kind of giving the sense of, you have reached an area of success and an area of getting to higher education, which is very difficult, and then figuring out how to bridge that gap or transition or figure themselves out. So using music that they can relate to, or literature that they can relate to, can possibly open up their idea again, or awareness of, maybe they want to go into teaching, but they've never thought about it. That could really give them the idea, and again, strengthen that awareness of where they may be going. Our second question is what you have learned about yourself as a creative being. There was a couple of things that I recognized as I went through the class. And the first one I kind of noticed as we were in class for the very first day. When we came face-to-face on the Friday afternoon, or Friday morning to better state that. And you, Dr. Crow, you asked us, where we saw ourselves on that perfect Monday afternoon of exactly where we're leaving. I realized I couldn't draw from abstract. I couldn't just imagine something and draw it. At least not to the level of where I felt it was appropriate. Not appropriate, but I guess the word is good. And that's why I struggled with kind of visual art or the drawing aspect, because I always question myself, so I'm not truly comfortable with that. But it's one thing that I noticed about myself. But also, as I mentioned in my impressions of the in-class, how music, when we were doing that activity, I just couldn't creatively allow myself to just let go. And finally, some music came on that I really liked, and it related to the way that I felt or would feel as I was leaving class, which was very confident and relaxed and laid back, and that the experience had strengthened my own abilities and understanding of creativity, and that's something that I really found interesting. I've kind of always felt that way with music, but this kind of enhanced that feeling, or just made me realize that in certain situations music can be very beneficial. So, and the final one is, which activity did you find most interesting, stimulating, growth producing? And I've got to be honest, I liked all of the creativity activities. I liked our discussion boards and doing the journal and things like that, but I'm more of a person that when I leave a class, I like to have something concrete that I can use. So, in undergrad, if you're doing a class and it was in teaching, you'd want to be able to create lesson plans, because then you could use it in the future. So something that I've always felt very strongly about, whether it was my last class with you, Dr. Crow, was the family, where we did an activity, but it was the creativity activity that we did this semester, or for this class, because again, I think you need to you focus. Not only is it your own design, it's something that you've come up with on your own and you've tailored, but with the things that are included in that activity, we have to focus on concerns, multiculturalism, and understanding when and how to implement that into counseling and the counseling process. And that's something for me that is still very difficult, but not in the sense of applying it, but knowing when to apply it, and not becoming very intrusive, and making sure you know when it's appropriate. So that's something that I really like, and I like how the activity calls for you to address that and think about that, and include processing questions. So to close, I know this is supposed to be 5 minutes. I know it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds, but I really enjoyed this, and everybody have a great summer.